Peter Allen, Vigortransformations, part 2 of that initial workout. Sorry, video if you cut out. In terms of rowing, we want to be careful of what I call the death grip. A lot of people are kind of gripping around, and what happens all too often is people are holding like this. Okay, this changes the angle throughout the body, and that's what we got to start to really understand is our angles. Angles are everything, going back to like martial arts and whatnot. So, you know, I spend a lot of time critiquing and changing kind of grips and positions to facilitate the best movement pattern possible. You know, we want to keep our grip nice and straight, just like if you were kind of throwing a punch, if you will. Now, a lot of times I get rid of my thumb, okay, to force my intended target area to work a little bit harder. So in terms of kind of the row, TRX, what I'm doing with a grip is holding with my thumb off to the side. Now you can go around too, but again, my thumb's just kind of sitting there, okay? All too often, we're squeezing way too hard with those thumbs. So I'm gonna go back into the rows, but what I'm gonna do is kind of a wider row. So I'm gonna come out at an angle like this. You wanna make sure you keep your hands inside your elbows, okay? A lot of times people are kind of trying to force it out now, like a rear delt fly, which could be done, but we're not doing that today right now. So I'll lean back, okay, and I'm pulling out, okay, thumbs are on top. Then again, I'm facilitating a big movement. One of the other things I realized I used to do too much is I kind of would lift my toes. I realized the folly in that. I want to kind of try and keep my feet firmly planted on the ground. If anything, maybe even pushing through the toes a little bit more, kind of curl, arch my foot in. Then I'm going to kind of stretch that rhomboid or trap area. Pull, stretch, and pull. I notice I can feel my right shoulder a little bit tighter. These are key things to kind of take into consideration, because what I'm going to be doing is facilitating all my stuff with percussion therapy on myself. I've had huge strides. I mean, I'm more flexible now than I was in my 20s. And I've made a ton of videos already about the percussion therapy. I've only been doing it for maybe 2 months. Before that, I was trying traditional stretching. Just wasn't getting the results that I wanted or needed. And we can physically move the fascia with that percussion therapy. Kind of break up the scar tissue that holds us back. And now I'm devising movement patterns that facilitate for a better movement patterns than a lot of us, or even myself, were using for years. So I'm going to go back to that high row. I'm switching the palm grip, reach, gotta squat down a little bit, pull. Now if you need to take a break, take a breather. So this one I'm getting my legs involved a little bit more. Squat, pull, down. Trying to keep my weight through the balls of the feet. Squat, pull. You know, I've noticed too, my left hip pushes me to my right. I was trying to figure out that for years. I finally started to kind of truly fix it, not just mask it. Now what I'm going to do a little bit of, just to facilitate again, kind of using my back a little bit more, I'm going to go into a push-up. So I want to stabilize and extend. Now I'm making this push-up relatively easily. I want to keep my weight all the way into it. You know, so we should be using our back to help decelerate us through this movement pattern. I realized for years I was just so tight in my shoulders that my chest couldn't activate properly. Okay, flip it. So So I'm going to go into that rear delt. Big stretch. I might increase my range of motion just a little bit. And again, this isn't just rear delt, it's still lat, rhomboid. Trap. Again, head in neutral position. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a stretch. So I'm going to step in, I'm going to come up. Okay, in, up, slightly pushing into the TRX. Not rushing this either, okay? I want to get the stretch through my chest. That one threw me off a little bit. So what I gotta do is another video of kind of where my body is. I think my right leg has gotten better since I've been loosening up the hip. I used to just kind of try to fix my hip by throwing more and more exercise at it. I realized that was not the smartest thing to do. As I'm doing this, I can even feel my adductors coming in a little bit too much. So I might go into one of those stretches too. So I'm going to go high rope. Big stretch. Hands inside the elbows, huge. Again, it's all about your angles. All about your angle. Okay, you can switch it back, so I'm going to go back into that push-up. Inhale on the way down. Exhale on the way up. Okay, and that's for everything. A lot of times, I notice a lot of people having a hard time with their breathing. And again, it makes a huge difference when you're exercising how you're breathing. Now, if it's not too difficult, the breathing doesn't really matter. That's kind of what allows me to be able to kind of talk while I'm doing this. But if this was making it much more difficult, I would really time my breathing. Now, martial arts too, okay, a lot of times you gotta time that breathing with your punches, but you're gonna make a video which is kind of very similar, facilitating movement patterns. I'm just gonna do one more set for now. Usually kind of 3 to 4. I'm gonna go to that rear delt of each one. I usually aim for 9. Or I should say 3 to 4 different exercises for the body part. Again, that's just kind of a rough estimate. I'm going to start getting into more kind of full body movement patterns, but I wanted to kind of just target the upper today. And if you notice, even again, I still stretch my lower. Okay, flip it. We get one more push-up set. I'm mostly kind of doing this myself too, to A, kind of help show other people, but B, to get my fascia moving a little bit more so I can speed up the percussion therapy. Because that's what happens kind of when we exercise. It's kind of our fascia and our tissue starts to move. So that's why we kind of get, improvements and, start to feel better, endorphins and all that stuff in the beginning, is we're getting that fascia to keep moving. So we're kind of building and keeping it, stretched. All too often though, if we're limiting our range of motion or kind of quantity or quality of exercises, the tissue can start to get harder and tighter, and it starts to restrict our movement if we're not doing enough of kind of an opposing movement pattern. A lot of us tend to just do same routines or kind of same type of exercises over and over again, and it kind of slowly changes us, or we're not realizing the form and technique that we're using all too often when we're doing this. So I'm going to go into kind of an eye fly, so I'm going to squat down, come up, and reach a little bit. Come up. Now I could do kind of a row with push too. Coming all the way down, push. Now this is a little bit more of an advanced exercise. So for beginners, I stick with that I fly or Y fly. So that one's here, coming up. Now, because I'm going to go into some martial arts to make just an upper body movement pattern. Now I would continue that, at least do, so maybe my eye flies, maybe a kind of pec fly, if you will. I might step into this, push. Now maybe if somebody's more advanced, lean and pull. Really tough exercise though. A lot of shoulders. So this one might be better for a lot of people. Kind of coming out, stretch. Elbows up too. Big thing. Elbow positioning. That elbow, good elbow. But I'd run like 2 more of those. I'm going to go into a video after if you're kind of interested in that one too, in terms of kind of almost like a martial arts blocking system. But again, what I'm doing is facilitating big movement patterns with my body. Okay? Hopefully you found this video informational and helpful. And if you want part 2 of this, that's what I'm going to start now.